The country club's ballrooms gleamed with celebration. 75 guests drifted among crystal chandeliers, glasses clinking as they toasted my father's 35-year tenure at the law firm. The cake was a spectacle, 3 tiers adorned with fondant briefcases and tiny gavels. Champagne flowed liberally. Everything was flawless, meticulously arranged by my mother over 3 months of planning. My brother Jason had commandeered the last 20 minutes of conversation, regaling anyone within earshot with his $15,000 year-end bonus from his mid-level tech project manager role. He spoke as if he alone had rescued the company from ruin. My parents hung on every word, radiant with pride. Then Grandma Patricia, my mother's mother, at 79 still sharp as a tack, lobbed a question into Jason's triumph like a hand grenade. The effect was immediate. His words stalled mid-sentence, his mouth frozen in disbelief. The small circle of relatives around us went silent. My father paused mid-sip of champagne. My mother's practiced smile stiffened, her eyes darting between Grandma and me with rising alarm. I took a slow sip of Chardonnay, bracing for the fallout. Unaware, Grandma chirped, property taxes in that neighborhood must be steep. How much are you paying, dear? About $6,800 a year. That's increased since you bought it, hasn't it? $7,200 now, I answered evenly. But I've stayed current every single year, never missed a payment in 9 years. The room went still, the math clear, $7,200 a year, 9 years. My mother's voice trembled first. Mom, you're mistaken. Elena doesn't own a house, she lives downtown. Grandma raised an eyebrow in genuine surprise. Downtown? Margaret, what are you saying? Elena purchased that beautiful townhouse on Westwood Lane 9 years ago. I was at the closing. I co-signed her loan, remember? The silence was total. Even the pianist in the corner, still tinkling a jazz tune, remained oblivious. Jason recovered first, disbelief sharp in his tone. You co-signed? Alone? When was this? April 2016, Grandma said, pulling out her phone effortlessly. Photos from the closing are right here. No, that's not needed, my mother interjected, snatching for the phone. It's clearly a misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding, I said, setting my glass down carefully. Grandma's correct. I bought a 2,400 square foot townhouse in April 2016. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, original leaded glass windows, half-acre lot. Price, $365,000. Down payment, $73,000. Financed, $292,000. The numbers were undeniable. My father's face went from retirement party pink to ashen gray. My mother looked green. Jason stared at me as if I'd announced I was from another planet. That's impossible, he said. Where did you get $73,000? You work in a library. I'm the county's director of library services, I corrected. I earn $94,000 annually. Before that, assistant director, $76,000. Head of reference, $62,000. 12 years of steady promotions. But you wouldn't know, because you never asked beyond, how's the library? Jason's bonus suddenly seemed trivial. His face burned red. Elena, my father said, lawyerly even mid-celebration, this doesn't add up. Why didn't you tell us? I did. You weren't listening. That's not fair. I opened my text history. April 23, 2016. I texted the family. Big news. Closed on my first house. Can't wait to show you. Mom, your reply. Silence. You wrote, that's nice, honey. Did you see Jason's post about his new car? You shifted topics immediately. Dad didn't reply. Jason sent a thumbs up emoji. The evidence was irrefutable. My mother's face fell. I invited you to my housewarming in June, I continued. You were busy with Jason's engagement party. I sent kitchen renovation photos in 2018. Mom replied, "Looks good," then switched to Jason's wedding. Last year, I mentioned needing a new water heater. Dad suggested a plumber, then asked if I'd attend Jason's promotion dinner. Each memory a precise sting. Grandma nodded slowly, finally understanding. They truly hadn't known. Never visited, she asked. Not once in 9 years, I confirmed. Not for the housewarming. Not for any holiday I'd hosted. Not even 3 years ago when I'd invited them for Christmas dinner. You hosted Christmas? My mother's voice cracked. Yes. I stopped coming to yours 5 years ago. I've been running my own. Last year, 23 people. Friends, neighbors, colleagues, people who actually know where I live. The words landed like a punch. My father set his champagne glass down before it could slip from his hand. 5 years. You haven't been to our Christmas in 5 years, he murmured. Every year I said I had plans, I replied. You never asked what plans. Never suggested a different date. You just nodded and moved on. I shrugged. I stopped expecting you to care. Jason found his voice again, anger edging his disbelief. So this was some kind of game? Keeping secrets to prove a point. I haven't hidden anything, I said calmly. I've lived openly. You just never noticed. There's a difference between hiding your life and being ignored. Grandma touched my arm softly. Show them, sweetie. Let them see what they've been missing. I hesitated, then opened my gallery and handed my phone to my mother. She scrolled through nearly a decade of life, the house on closing day, the garden I planted, kitchen and bathroom renovations, finished basement, holiday decorations, dinner parties, book clubs, game nights, vegetable garden in full bloom, the pergola I built with friends. Everything I'd done, entirely invisible to them. Halfway through, my mother's tears began. By the end, mascara streamed down her face. Elena, this is beautiful. Why didn't we know? Because you never looked. I posted on social media, mentioned renovations, talked about the garden, dinner parties, my life. You never engaged beyond cursory acknowledgement. My father took the phone, scrolling through the images with shaking hands. You did all this yourself? Renovations, landscaping, with friends you've met because you've never asked about my life. I took back my phone. I have a community that shows up. They helped me paint, build the pergola. They come for barbecues, game nights, holidays. They actually know me. But we're your family, my mother said weakly. Are you? The question hung in the air. Family knows where you live, celebrates milestones, doesn't vanish for 9 years. A colleague approached, oblivious. Bill, congrats again. Jason's bonus sounds impressive. And Elena, library director. Wonderful. My father managed a tight smile. The colleague left, and silence fell, heavier than before. $7,200 in property taxes, Jason murmured, doing the math. Over 9 years, that's $64,800. Plus mortgage, maintenance, renovations. How much have you invested in total? About $387,000 over 9 years, I said. The weight of the number landed. Jason's bonus shrank in comparison. Where did you get that money? My father asked, finally thinking like a lawyer. Loans? Debt. I have no debt aside from the mortgage. Balance now, $186,000. Paid $16,000 in principal over 9 years, plus extra payments. Credit score, 798. Emergency fund covers 18 months. Max out 401k yearly. No car payment, no credit cards, no personal loans. I met his eyes. I'm more financially secure than Jason has ever been, despite his bragging. Jason flushed. That's not fair. You don't know my finances. You've posted every purchase online. Car, vacation, designer watch, golf club membership. I shrugged. I notice both of you. You never noticed me. Grandma nodded. Elena's always been smart. Lives below her means, saves, invests. I told her the house was a good buy. Worth $512,000 now, with over $326,000 in equity. The numbers kept coming, each revelation heavier than the last. My mother's tears had dried. She was stunned. My father's shock had shifted into reluctant respect, tinged with grief. Why? My mother finally asked. Why didn't you make us pay attention? Demand we acknowledge you. Because I shouldn't have to beg my family to care about my life. I lifted my wine glass, found it empty, and set it down. I tried. I really did. But after years of being interrupted, dismissed, ignored, I stopped. I built a life without your approval because it became obvious I wasn't going to get it. That's not true, my father protested. We love you. We've always been proud of you. Have you, Dad? When was the last time you called just to talk? Not to ask for help or pass along some family obligation, but genuinely check in on me. He opened his mouth, closed it, looked away. Mom, when was the last time you asked about my work, my hobbies, my friends, my life beyond polite small talk? Tears welled up in my mother's eyes again. I don't remember, she whispered. I can tell you. February 2014, before I bought the house. You asked about work. I told you about a $500,000 grant I'd secured for library programming. You said, "That's wonderful," then spent 45 minutes talking about Jason's new apartment. The specificity hit harder than any anger could. Jason shifted, uncomfortable. Elena, I didn't realize you existed outside of being my sister. I see now that I should have, he admitted. Grandma stood, collecting her purse. I think we should go. It's been a long night. Mom, please. My mother reached for her arm. Don't go. We need to talk. No, Margaret, Grandma said firmly. Elena needs space. And you all need to reflect on what she's saying. I've watched you overlook this brilliant, capable woman for years. She bought a house, renovated it, built a career, created a community, and you never noticed because you were too busy celebrating Jason's mediocrity. Jason's protest came weakly. It's true. Elena's accomplished more than any of us, built something lasting. Yet my parents throw parties for bonuses and never even knew where she lived. Grandma kissed my cheek. Come on. Let's see that garden you've been raving about. I want to see the roses you grafted. I gathered my clutch. My father reached for my arm. Elena, don't leave like this. It's my retirement party. I know. Congratulations, Dad. I'm genuinely happy for you. But I need to go home, to my house. The one I've owned for 9 years. The one you've never seen. Can we see it? Tomorrow. Next weekend? My mother asked, desperation in her voice. I studied their faces, the shock, the grief, the dawning understanding. Maybe. If you actually want to see my life, not just soothe your guilt. Call me. We'll figure it out. We will, my father promised. We'll do better. I hope so. For your sake, not mine. I've learned to live without your approval. I don't need it anymore. But it would be nice to have a family who actually knows me. Grandma and I left together, stepping away from the party, the champagne, the celebrations of my father's achievements, while my own went unnoticed. We drove through familiar streets to Westwood Lane. Inside, Grandma wandered through the house slowly, pride in her eyes. She'd seen it before but took her time anyway, admiring built-in bookshelves, the renovated kitchen, and the garden lit by solar lights. "Your mother's going to feel awful," she said, settling on the couch with her tea. "And your father and Jason too. Will you forgive them?" I looked around my home, the life I'd created, the person I'd become without their validation. Maybe someday, if they really try, if they actually show up. If not, I'll keep living with the people who do. "With me, Grandma," she smiled, squeezing my hand. That house was the best investment, not just financially, though that equity is impressive, but because it gave you room to become yourself. "I know. Thank you for helping me get it. Thank you for letting me be part of this life." "Your grandfather would be proud," she said softly. 2 weeks later, my parents visited. Alone. No Jason. They walked in silence, taking in everything they'd missed. My mother cried. My father shook his head in disbelief. 9 years, he murmured repeatedly. "Yes," I said simply. 9 years. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was recognition. They finally saw what had been invisible for so long. Jason came alone the following week. We sat in the backyard under the pergola and talked honestly for the first time in years. "I'm sorry," he said. "I've been a terrible brother. I don't know how to fix it." Start by showing up. Ask questions. Care about the answers. It wasn't much, but it was a start. 6 months later, my mortgage balance dipped below $170,000. Extra payments had accelerated my path to ownership. My parents came for dinner once a month. Jason stopped by occasionally. They were trying. It wasn't the family I had wanted, but it was the family finally paying attention. And in my house, my fully mine, hard-won house, that was enough. Ownership has a name. Mine. Property taxes came due again. $7,200. Paid on time as always.